All right, and we are on the phone with Weston. Hey, Weston, how are you today?
Not too bad. How are y'all doing?
All right, all right. So for everybody out there, tell them who you are, where you're from, and what you're bringing to KOS.
So my name is Weston Burchfield. I'm from Pleasanton, Texas, about south of San Antonio, Texas. Um, we are bringing my '96 Dodge 2500 extended cab long bed truck. It's still a mechanical truck, and that's pretty much it. I'm 26 years old. Do mechanicking for a living, working on heavy equipment.
And you have a swap in it, right? You have a 6.7.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. A P pump 6.7.
So tell me a little bit about that. Why did you choose that?
So to be honest, just for the horsepower capabilities, 12 valves have their place, and I love all mechanical trucks, but the blocks aren't as strong. A 6.7 block can handle over that 1,500 horsepower mark. A 12 valve block, it seems to give up the juice around that part. Usually it'll crack along the deck. So yeah, 6.7, more bore, more stroke, drives turbos better, drivability went up, and overall strength of the block. Um, and then yeah, I mean overall it's just better than running your standard 5.9, VP 5.9 or 12 valve 5.9 if you can. It's a little more money. Obviously, you have to put a little more into the machine work and stuff like that. But overall, it's a win.
For sure, for sure. And I know everybody can't see, but I'm hoping we can put a picture on this podcast here of your truck. So it looks pretty mint, right? It's actually pretty good. And one of your is it your buddies or your brother does paint?
My brother, he works in the oil field now, but he used to work for a paint and body shop. It was a towing company, but they do paint and body. They had a division that did that too, because they would bring cars in. They can do estimates, insurance stuff like that. So he did paint and body, and he did mine on the side. He did a couple other jobs for some other people, some other buddy. He painted my buddy's second gen, which is actually almost the exact same truck I have. It's just a '02, not a '96. So it's a it was a lifted 24 valve, and mine was a lowered 12 valve, but almost the same exact truck. But yeah, he got into doing that, and he works in oil field now. But if I ever need, you know, hoods or bumpers painted, I can luckily have the hookup. Paint body's not cheap, definitely not.
Right. And you and him pretty much you were talking to me about this yesterday when we tried to do this the first time and it didn't work. But
Yes, ma'am.
so you and him pretty much have built this truck, right? Together. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Originally, it started off. He's always gone to events with me and stuff, but originally it's kind of just me working on the truck back when it wasn't nearly as involved as it needs to be now. And this year, when I told him we're going to do KOS, I asked him, hey, usually I know he helps me out when the races come up, but it's not, it doesn't work on it every day throughout the year kind of thing. I usually me just tinkering in the garage. But I asked him, we're going to need help, and you think you can kind of help me get the truck done? And he's taken over on that part. He's done a lot of the wiring, a lot of the he did most of the interior stuff like that. He built a lot of the sled pull setup, and then obviously I'm working on the engine, the trans, fabbing up for compounds and piping and everything else that involves going with the truck, running the truck, stuff like that. So he took over a lot of the odds and ends things. Usually it used to be me, by myself working on it, just a 2-car garage, but we kind of bit off more than we can chew on this one. I think I have a terrible habit of going too far. I want to
Don't
do
we
one
all?
thing, and yeah, last year I raced the truck all year, we 4-wheel drive swapped it, or I 4-wheel drive swapped it, and then I built the 6.7, the first 6.7 for it. Raced it last year, did pretty well, and then the last event ended up cracking the deck on the block, so it was down, and I knew I was going to do KOS, so I wanted to clean it up, and then you're in the garage and you're looking at it, and the wiring wasn't terrible. It's just a lot of it had been done when I very first started this stuff, so your skills go up as as more knowledge you gain and more go along. And I ended up just tearing every ounce of wiring I possibly could out of it, besides even the factory harness, so we could relume it, wire tuck it, stuff like that. So we bit off a lot more than we can chew this time. Between it was down at one point, no engine, no trans, not an ounce of wiring in it, no bed on it. Suspension stuff was half taken apart. We, not an ounce of like the tank was out. We're having to put a fuel cell in the rear of the battery location and all that. So yeah, he kind of helped me take over, finish that up while I was doing, all the other stuff on it.
What do you normally do? What do you normally do with that truck? You normally race it, right? Like you're Texas, and Texas is a huge state. What does that look like as far as competition where you're from? Is it easy to race? Is it easy to find a sled pool? Is it easy to find a dyno day? Like, what does it look like for you either getting data or even just competing anywhere?
It is, and it isn't the same, right? Event-wise, diesel events, we have, well, if we're going off this year, we just had NHRA World Finals, and then a couple weeks ago I went to a no prep event, a no prep diesel event. There were some gas cars there, but it was mainly for diesels. And then we'll have a dyno day in January. Sled pulling wise, I'm not really, I've never sled pulled, so I don't pay attention to what events have open classes. I know, is it TTPA, I think, Texas Pulling. I know they have, I think, 3 or 4 events, maybe 5, but they don't always do open classes. So unless you have a work stock or you obviously a 2.6 or a 3.0, I'm not sure you can really get into that. So drag racing is, if you're going to stay in state and that's where you're strictly going to be, you're either holding out for your couple diesel events of the year and just kind of go along with it, or you have to go to, it'd be like your typical gas thing where it has like 7.0 index class or small tire, stuff like that, which is fun. But, when you're running a heavy diesel truck, you either need to gut it and cut it apart or make a ton of power. And if you don't have the parts to hold up on the power part, you're not going to be racing a whole lot throughout the year. So testing and data, it's whatever you can get it. That's all I'm going to say.
Right.
At whatever point you're able to get it, any data is good, is data. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm,
Try to find it wherever you can get it, I guess.
In the streets of Mexico.
Yes, ma'am. And sometimes in Texas, they're not very, the state's big and a lot of the counties are massive, and it's hard for a county to keep up with every single road and as much oil field traffic and sand haulers and 18-wheelers that go through. A lot of the roads are not very great for that, to be honest. I've broken my fair share of drive shafts already from, a bumpy road you don't really see, you don't realize. You're, in the streets of Mexico trying to do a pass and the truck hits a bump and it unloads the chassis and then loads it and it breaks something.
Right. Yeah, I could see that potentially being very frustrating to try to get anything accomplished. So you've not sled pulled before? Like
never.
So what's going to be your plan here? You got to do that twice, right?
Yes, ma'am. Which I am looking forward to it. Like I said, this last about week and a half or so, we've been doing nothing but sled pull prep. We built a weight box for it. I got lockout for the rear. We built sled stops, got a hitch, and all your U-joint scatter shield, stuff like that. So we spent a lot of time to try to make a half legit sled pull setup. As far as plan wise, I guess take it easy out of the hole and try not to get into it too early where it starts hopping or something. I only know as much as I've watched people do.
Right. So what made you? So like, where are we at here? So you've not sled pulled before. You drag race with it. You've hit some dyno days. So I'm assuming dirt drags are probably also null and void in Texas. Is that right?
Yeah, we actually have one, which it's unfortunate that it's after y'all's event.
Gotcha.
But it's after y'all's event in November. We have actually the place that put on the no prep. It's called Texas Truck Throwdown. They actually did a full event. They did a no prep event. Now they're doing a dirt drag event. They're actually putting one on. I was like, wow, it'd be nice if it was before the event so I can go test. But yeah, I done one dirt drag, which is nullified because it was a 2-wheel drive back then, and I just went with some mud tires on the back, and it's just for fun. It wasn't very big, it was just a couple people, maybe 10 competitors at max. It was a very small event. We just went there and had fun. And the track was, I just say, if you imagine hooking your disc up to your tractor and then run it through the front field and then just run your truck over at full throttle afterwards.
Oh boy.
Yes, it was the roughest dirt track I've ever seen in my life. It was like running across a disc or plowed field. It was terrible.
Oh my goodness.
All I knew was floor it. That's about the experience we could get. But yeah, dynoing, I've done I guess quite a bit compared to most people. We don't have a dyno near us where I spent, hours and hours on the dyno, but going to events here, I'm familiar with it. I actually have one scheduled next weekend. Robert Ivy, some people might know him. He has a Superflow at his house, so I'm scheduled to go up there. Me and my buddy Russell, he's doing the dyno day or dyno camp. So we're gonna go up there and I can kind of practice this setup because it's just a fair bit bigger than what I've ran before.
Right. I gotcha. Now, when you're there, will you be able to run your own truck on his dyno so you can kind of learn how to do that as well, or no?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I haven't. He knows. It's one of those things. If they know you don't know what you're doing, they're probably not going to let you just be like, here, let me do it. It's probably these dyno events. They're great. If you like the Northwest Dyno Circuit, is probably the best one because it's the best dyno and they know what they're doing. But a lot of these people, they're not very familiar with the dyno. They just bought it and they're throwing an event, or they don't trust anybody. So it's hard to get good data. You get up there, they want to hook you up. They don't really calibrate your truck. They throw it up there, strap it down, do your 3 hits, get off kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll probably let Robert run it a couple times in front of me just so I can see how the dyno works. He can here, we'll bring it up to here, set the node, and then he'll probably let me get in and I'll run the truck, just so he can I'm a visual learner. It's easy. If he gets in, does it for a pull, shows me where it needs to be, how the dyno works. I would, he's not trying to tell me to do it as he's showing me kind of thing.
Right. So, and so yeah. So this will be your first time coming ever, right? You've not come as like a spectator before or anything like that. Like you're fresh out of the box as far as you've not come or competed before, right?
Yes, ma'am. Never. I have only been an online spectator. We were talking about
so
the other day.
So how did you run me through that? How did you, first of all, get into the event? And then second of all, what made you be like, I can do that? What made you pull the trigger and enter?
See, I guess before when we talked, I meant to say more about it. I mean, I know I told you yesterday it was pretty much Josh kind of exposed me to the event on YouTube. Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm. Josh McCormick on YouTube kind of exposed me to the event. Like I said, whenever he won in 21 was the first year. I had watched a couple of videos before that, clips of it, but I didn't really pay attention too much to the entire event, like everybody else, every aspect, every event of it. I'd watch it like the dyno day and the drag race day because that's what I was interested in. But once he won that year of 21 and he won, it kind of got me hooked. I watched, every stage that he posted, and then after that, I've been following whoever goes that you're kind of familiar with. And then it's just being able to go out there and prove that your truck is able to. I like race trucks. Don't get me wrong; they're cool. They have their place. I mean, I have a single cab that I eventually want to gut and make it into a dedicated race truck because this truck that I have now is kind of at the limit of where I don't want to gut it. I don't want to go any further with it. It already makes. I mean, maybe make a little more power, but it makes plenty power for the weight it is, and it probably could run a 5, and it's fast enough for a street truck in my mind. I don't think I need to keep pushing that platform. So just being able to take this truck and then being a mechanical setup on top of that, I know the debate between Comrail and mechanical stuff is, Comrail people they're not saying they don't like the mechanical people. They don't really like the setup because they think it's dirty, this and that, which a lot of them are. And it's a lot of the people that don't know how to, tune or how to set it up correctly. They just throw the biggest pump, the biggest injectors, and a 7 mil charger on it. And something but a smoky mess. So be able to go out there and prove that you can take this setup, this mechanical setup that is very doable by anybody. I mean, it's nothing massive. Fuel and air wise, it's doable. It's VS Racing chargers. You can buy those. My manifold charger is I think it's $1,100, and my atmosphere charger is like $1,800. So it's not $4,000 Garrett chargers, something like that. Take it. Anybody can go out there and make that truck run good and perform. kind of help, I guess, try to push the mechanical platform as far as we can. I know there's, Power Driven Diesel is really big into that. Obviously, they have a couple of trucks that they constantly are innovating with. They have some stuff in the pipeline, I think, that is going to change the game pretty big. And then showing that I'm pretty young. I'm 26. My brother's 24. Actually, I just turned 26 like 3 days ago. I don't even remember.
Oh,
I
happy
forgot my
birthday.
birthday was this month. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. But we're fairly young. I mean, brother works in the oil field. I work as a heavy equipment mechanic for Komatsu, and we're just essentially just kids in a garage. We do everything ourselves. But the only thing on this truck that I haven't built is turbos and the injection pump. The injectors I actually put nozzles on myself. I like to get a set built, but I had some stuff that throws them together to get it running, kind of thing. So we're willing to do anything and everything, do it ourselves, DIY as it can. Josh really inspired me on that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's for someone to do that in his garage it's very impressive. It's awesome. Things with the P pump platform if possible.
Yeah, that would be awesome to do for you guys, and it would be awesome for us to see. We're looking forward to it for sure. What is going to be your what do you think is going to be where you excel? Like, what's going to be your favorite part of the competition, and what are you kind of like, maybe not looking forward to the most out of what you've got lined up as far as the different things? So, right, we have the drag strip, we have the dyno, the dirt drags, the sled pull, the street drive. Where you think you're going to stack up with this list of competitors, and what do you think you're going to be able to actually conquer?
70 competitors, which I know, what is it? It's right now it was 70, it went down to 61, I think you said the other day, and then what did it get back up to?
Yeah,
Entered
it's
right
it's
now.
definitely fluctuating, right? It's like staying between the 60, 70 mark. I mean, there's some guys dropping, but then there's some guys like, hey, I was able to get fixed. And then the group chat helps out too, because a lot of the guys swap parts and they're like, what can we do to get you there?
Yes, ma'am. I
Um,
think I'd be surprised, or I wouldn't be surprised if 55 shows up. I would think that would
sure.
be pretty doable. Hopefully, it's a big field, and there's a lot of heavy hitters coming this year. I know the past couple of years you have Josh or Chris Patterson, Tyler
Hmm.
Saffel won last year, and a couple other guys that I don't exactly know their names, but I see the truck. They make good power, potential to be fast. They have experience sled pulling, so it's a very big field. There's those two Fords with Comarails in them. Those are both very capable trucks. Obviously Chris Patterson's. I'm sure he's bringing that red truck again.
Yep.
I think made 2,400 horsepower.
Yeah.
Tyler
Yeah.
Saffel, I think he's putting nitrous on it, so I'm sure he could. Enforcer can make plenty of power, and then a couple other guys. I forgot his name. He just won the fire plug video. That blue Sturgeon. I forgot his name, but yeah, the decent amount of trucks coming that
Evan.
have
Evan
capable
Mosier.
setup. Yes, ma'am. Evan
Yeah.
Moser. Yes, ma'am.
Hmm.
So all those guys, I mean, they can go fast. And being Comarail for the, so I know like Chris didn't have a cage, but being Comarail and stuff, you set your time on ET and they can just run the dot. They have it dialed in. So I think it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. I wish I had more time on the truck, but I think it's obviously not totally outgunned. I mean, the setup I think can make 1800 plus with a fairly large. If I put enough nitrous in it, it could run faster than 640s. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get an NHRA license, so that's why I really didn't want to do the heads up part. I didn't want to crush myself, so I'm going to do the ET. And to be honest, when I was at this last no prep event, that was the first time ever going out on the track under power with this setup. Was the first qualify. They did test passes, and I threw a tune-up in it, and it went 670 3 times in a row. Well, just throwing it at it, and that was on a no prep track. So I know that the truck can be, I can put that tune-up back in it, and I think it could be consecutive.
Hmm.
As far as looking forward to, obviously I like the dyno. The dyno, I love drag racing, but dynoing is just fun. I know it can be a heartbreaker, and it can be frustrating too. If you have a number in your head you want to hit, and if you don't hit it, you're bummed out. But it's just fun. I am looking forward to the sled pull a lot. I think that's necessarily not as much about power and about, your setup and kind of not killing it per se, so you don't break
Right.
something. So I
Yeah.
am looking forward to the sled pull. I say if I was able to run the truck all out, the drag race would be my most look forward to section. But since I'm not, probably those two, the dyno and the sled pull, I think the truck can excel at and kind of gain ground, I guess, per se.
So in the grand scheme of things, right? A lot of these guys, as you've seen in the group chat, a lot of the guys are like, "Yeah, we come every year. It's always a vacation. It's always a hangout. It's always a fun time. We bring the family, etc." So,
Yes, ma'am.
are you mainly coming this year to? Um, you're mainly coming this year to compete, or are you looking at it as more of like a vacation mixed in, or are you actually coming gunning for that top 10 spot, serious competitor, or like are you gonna be, yeah, put our camper in the rowdy pits type of deal?
We're kind of we're rowdy people. Me and my friend group,
We're
we
rowdy.
yeah, we're rowdy. We do. There's some things that we've done. We have this on the land we have the shop at, and we'll take cars and we'll go across the pasture at 60, just beating on things. We're rowdy people, so we can get rowdy. But honestly, I told Ryan, my brother, I want to go and compete. I don't.
Right.
I'm gonna try. I'm taking this serious. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money I've put, and
Yep.
it's not necessarily just for this event, but getting the truck done to the point to go to this event. I told them, on this other events we go, and they're very laid back here in Texas. It's kind of like a weird dysfunctional family in a way. We may argue or fight, but everybody kind of hangs out when we get together. It's very laid back, chill. It's a big difference between going, to an ODS event to a Texas event, because the state's so big and no one really comes in. It's all of us in Texas just going to the same event, so we always see each other, and it's always the same people competing against each other the whole time. So it's like one big family. I'm sure
Hmm.
it's like that up there, with on my end. But yeah, we want to come and compete. If I'm shooting for one of the top 10 spots, definitely. I definitely didn't want to come necessarily, waste my time. I want to go enjoy myself. I'm shooting like a vacation. We're gonna go up. We're taking like 4 days to get there. Yeah, like 3.5 to 4 days. So we want to stop, at every segment, kind of look around and watch, go to places, maybe go eat a nice dinner. So it's not necessarily pull up, go to sleep, wake up, and just go. But when we get there, I told them, our crew, it's game time. We need to everybody work together. Let's just get along as much as we can. No, no
Right.
arguing, nothing like that. Let's just go and how friends are. You butt heads sometimes. It's just how friend groups get. But
Yep.
like I told
Yep.
them, let's take this serious. Let's go. We have our fun when we get back. We'll go back to our normal events where we can just mess around and race the truck and progress, but obviously laid back. Let's go and let's try to make the most out of what we can with this.
So what are you bringing extra as backups? And what do you have, or do you have, are you bringing anything as backups? Are you bringing tools? What is your setup going to look like as far as what you're bringing and what you're willing to interchange if you have any issues to keep going?
Well, I'll take the I'll take the entire truck apart if I have to keep going. We're bringing we'd bring another engine if that was a possibility, but obviously the block can't leave the frame.
Right,
So
right.
cylinder heads, gaskets, transmission parts. I'm bringing 2 extra core trans to take parts out of. I have endless amount of clutches, bands. We're gonna have extra valve body. We are bringing an extra Dana 60 for the front, another Dana 80 for the rear if we break an axle shaft or something.
Hmm.
Um, probably every tool we own at this point.
Right.
Um,
Load it
I
all
mean,
up, guys.
yeah, extra tires. We're bringing everything. You know, if the engine completely comes apart, we talked about obviously you take your 500-point deduction, I think,
Yep.
to pull the engine out. We've talked about taking that 500-point deduction and pulling the engine out just to finish the event. I'm not saying I won't do it. We might bring an extra, a core block to try to put back together. That's one of those things we'll probably discuss when that happens, if we want to do it or not do it. But everything else that's legal to do, repair, it's coming. We're going to do it. There's everything. Obviously, If we
Loaded
wanted
for
to buy an
bear,
extra
right?
part of everything, yeah,
Yep.
it'd be an astronomical amount of money to take one extra part of everything. But anything and everything we have that we think can be useful, extra turbos, we're gonna put it in the race trailer on the gooseneck and go. We don't want to lose by, if I hurt the trans and I just don't have parts to fix it, it just kind of is what it is. I don't want to lose that way. I
Right.
want to lose by it was pretty much it's done. There's no going forward with it kind of thing.
Right. You went, you gave it your all. You
Yeah.
can walk away with saying, we did everything we could with the parts that we had. And that's
Yeah.
cool that you guys have done so much to that truck yourselves. There's a lot of guys that do that. Very few, I would say maybe 25% of the guys that are coming have their own shops, and most of them have outside trade jobs. They're
Yeah.
not in the industry, or they're in some version of it, like you with Komatsu. I mean, you're mechanically inclined, but you're not in diesel performance. So a
Yes,
lot
ma'am.
of the guys are kind of in that same boat, and it's nice to know that the blue collar guys have somewhere to strut their stuff necessarily that they don't have elsewhere, I guess you could say. It's
Yes,
it's a performance against performance industry, but you guys really can showcase what you can do in the backyard or in your garage, or something like that. So I think that's one of the things that you guys really showcase when you guys come to these events. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad you decided to join the KOS family, and
yes, ma'am.
I think it's going to be fun. I hope you guys have safe travels coming up. You have any sponsors or anybody you want to shout out?
Yeah. Kyle Shot Secret. I met Kyle. I guess it was the beginning of last year. HRDA and Lufkin. They had that event. They had one time up there. Um, Met him there and talked to them. Great people, honestly. What they do for the industry is great. Sponsoring ODSS and HRDA, all the sled pulling stuff they do. They even do those those big truck hill racing. They go to that stuff. Anything motorsports they're in, even the gas stuff. It's great.
Yep.
We wish we had more people that did stuff like that. There's a lot of companies that they're very large. They make plenty of money to do it. And I don't think Hot Shots is the biggest, company. There's probably some old places that are even larger than they are. They reach out even further, and they just don't take the time. So we appreciate someone that is really personal with you whenever you come up and talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Clayton at DDP Motorsports. I met him actually 2 or 3 years ago. If I call, they're a dealer for D&J, Fleece, Industrial, all those places. When I order all the engine parts, I called them up. I gave them a part number list. He got it ordered, got it sent to me. And every time I call, they answer. He's great. He messaged me, told me happy birthday. How many owners of companies, always do that if you're not real personal. We're not best friends, but, we talk and we try to, hang out as much as we can at events. So great people. And then, I buy a lot from like Power Driven Diesel, Peterson Power. I call those people up. They're great. It's just companies like that you can call up, you can talk to. They're not like talking to a robot. It makes it enjoyable.
Right.
Go to events and meeting good people. If everybody went and no one talked to each other, it would just be like jail. It wouldn't be fun. But, being able to talk to somebody and it's not just, about business. It's, it's very personal. It's great. And then obviously my brother, like I told you yesterday, the truck would not make this event this year, at least, if he did not help me. So I appreciate him a lot, honestly. I owe him a lot. He didn't say I owe him, but I do. It's time after we get back, we're going to, kind of work on his stuff. He has a couple projects he wants to work on. I want to repay him for doing as much as he did. And then all my friends, we all help each other when we can. Not everybody can always come over because you got life and work and families or whatever, but, having great people it makes it worth it. It makes it worth it in the end.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, if you didn't have those people, that we wouldn't have any industry in the world, not just our industry. I mean, any industry really.
Yeah.
You have to have people that you enjoy doing it with, and that make it something. Who you hang out with can make or break an experience for you. So that's cool
And
that you guys.
This was my first time really talking to like John Serrato at Black Tie Race Fab. I hit him up because I need a brace for a compound setup, a hot pipe brace. And I shot him a message on Facebook, and he told me, or text me whenever on Monday, and we'll get an order. I text him Monday, hey, this and that, and then I asked him a couple questions about nitrous, and he's like, you got a minute to talk on the phone, text me. And I was like, sure. And he called me and was on the phone for an hour talking about, P-pump stuff and setups and what he thinks I should do. It kind of helped me out because we're all self-taught. I've never worked for a shop that's anything like this, or, I know 2,000 horsepower, trying to hit that isn't necessarily big to everybody, but for someone like us, it's a big feat.
Right.
So he talked to me for over an hour. It was during the week, during his business time, and I offered, I'll pay you, this, and I don't want to take your time from you. Your time's valuable. I don't ever want to, necessarily bother somebody. Everybody's got stuff going on in life, but he talked to me and helped me out. I really appreciate it. So some people, it may not be a big deal, but it's hard to find people just to kind of ask questions. If you don't, necessarily know people, there's only a select few that are willing to really help. A lot of people, it's, if you haven't spent a dime with them, they don't want to help you a single bit, which I understand both sides.
Right.
You want to help your customers when you can. I have people that ask me all the time for, ask me questions or whatever. They'll message me on Facebook or Snapchat or whatever, ask me questions. And some people just want to talk about their truck, and I talk to them about it. I just feel like being a good person is more valuable than any dollar bill amount necessarily to me. I understand both sides, but yeah, I appreciate John. It meant a lot to be able to just talk, and he kind of helped me out on kind of which direction to go with the setup and what I should and should not do, so I'm not spending money twice.
Right. Yeah, and that knowledge is invaluable, because some places will sell you stuff just because it's a sale. And then others are like, "Hey, look, this isn't going to work. I know you want to do it this way, but just hear me out. This will work better." And sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't, but it's nice when you have guys that have been in the industry for a while, do have some name recognition behind them, have some builds behind them, and it's like, you can basically ask a question and they'll be honest with you, and it's, this is matter of fact, this is what it is. It's nice to know that there are people out there in the industry like that. So
yeah, they just enjoy talking about it. That's how I am. I just, this isn't my only hobby. We hunt and fish. We live about an hour 45 to 2 hours from the coast, and we have a place down there. Our family does. So we go fishing all the time down at the coast. We're dove hunting or whatever when it's dove season. So this isn't my only hobby, but it's hard for me to do something and not be fully invested in it. So, I love to do it, and I love just talking about it. Going to events, and just honestly, sometimes going and talking and mingling with people is more fun than actually doing the event.
Oh yeah, your time's freed up. Yeah, your time's freed up. You're not stressing about, oh, I got to get there, I got to do this. Is the truck running right? Did I miss something? Yeah. And it's pretty. KOS is kind of like that. You have the guys that they're stressed. You can visually tell that they are stressed in between every event, and in the staging lanes, and in the, in the pulling line, and dirt dragging stuff in between each event. And it's like, you can tell they are stressed about just competing and chasing it. And then you have some guys that, like Tyler Buckingham, he's like, whatever. If it blows up, whatever. I'm still here for the weekend.
Yeah. And I can't say I won't be.
Right.
I won't be stressed, because I mean, honestly, like I said, I tend to take stuff serious, and sometimes I might be a little, not saying take it too serious, but I could probably relax a little bit. It wouldn't hurt me, but my hair is already falling out. I'm only 26, and my hair is already falling out, so I'm sure I'll lose some more this weekend's coming up for this. I'm sure there's times where you're gonna look at me and be like, "Oh dear Lord, he needs to."
Here, take a shot of this.
Yeah, he might need a beer or something, because he looks like he's going through right now. But hopefully not. I mean, in all perfect world, hopefully the truck goes, and I'm sure stuff will happen, but it's not like we're pulling the trans out 8 times trying to fix it. But we do stuff, we do everything ourselves. We're learning and DIY, and it's I think it's a possibility.
Yeah, and I think you're gonna I think you're really gonna enjoy being there. I think you're gonna like the atmosphere. I think you're gonna like the guys. And truthfully, if you get in a jam or something's not working right or there's something you are just like, God, there's this gremlin that all of a sudden appeared, you're going to have so many of those guys jump in and be like, dude, what do you need? What do you need? What can we do? What can we help? I mean, there's plenty of stories where some of them have stayed up the whole night helping the competitor because they want to they want you to do the best you can. And that goes a long way. And then and you'll create some friends there. And Josh is coming, and it's kind of cool when you see people like that, when you hear stories. I know I'm not Josh, but I can tell you from talking with him and knowing how he is, he's going to hear this and be like, oh, that was cool that I inspired that guy to do this, because it is achievable. And that's really what he was going for, was to be that backyard guy that, you know what, I can hang and I can do this, and I don't have to be a name and have to be somebody. I can enjoy what I want to enjoy. And for him to inspire people, I mean, that's pretty cool. And he likes meeting you guys at events and stuff. He comes back to this event every year. He's coming again. He's not bringing a truck, obviously, but he's staff, so he'll probably jump in the dyno for a ride along with you if you want that or whatever. I mean, he's pretty cool. So I think this is going to be a great experience for you guys. You're probably really going to enjoy it. You're probably going to have more fun than stress. And, hopefully you get hooked and you'll come back every year.
Oh, yeah. We're looking. I'm not, I'm almost looking forward to next year. Not necessarily more than this year. I know next year I'll be able to test with the truck and dial the setup in more. So, we're going to compete. We're going to try our hardest this year with what we have. But I'm looking forward to next year already, just being able to go with more data. And if we do good this year, hopefully we can only improve. And maybe, not saying we're going to win or whatever. You're always going to shoot for it. But maybe, you never know. Anybody, it's not a horsepower contest. It's a builder's contest. It's a team contest. Right. Whoever built the better truck, not who built the fastest or who built the most powerful or or pulls the furthest. It's all of it together.
Right. Yeah, it's one package and it's consistency, and you can't skip something, or you can't excel at one thing and then just kind of skip over the next. You have to do well at the entire thing, and you have to street drive. So, believe it or not, the street drive kills more trucks every year than the rest of the competition does. So,
yeah, we plan on the couple days before, we're going to go on some 100-mile street drive test. That is one thing we can do, put some fuel in it and just go drive down the highway and come back.
Yeah.
A couple of times, and if it does it, we should be good. I mean, I drive it around a decent amount whenever it runs, but anything can happen, kind of thing.
For sure. And when you're traveling as far as you guys are, it's kind of almost like you want to get it off the trailer and take it for a ride as soon as you get there, just to make sure nothing rattled loose or nothing, messed up in travel type of thing. Because it does happen. It's happened to us before, unfortunately, but that's what happens, So, well, it was good talking to you, Weston. I appreciate you giving me some insight on it. We're happy to have you join us this year, and good luck on your debut for King of the Street.
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate y'all. I'm looking forward to the event. We really are.
All right. You have safe travels now.
Yes, ma'am. You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.